Morning. It's an NRA Sunday Salutation Day. I'm back in Aloha, feeling frisky. We got some things to accomplish. It's February 19th, 2017. First off, we got a little hair mellow. We have to hear a little Patti Smith, Rock and Roll Nigger. Here we go. I don't think you can see it. This is this is my generation, man. This is 1978. The chick lays it down. It's about Rebellious Outsider, man. For you young chicks and boys, don't get caught up on the N-word, man. Here we go. More on it in a minute. You may just have to watch me dance.
I have no guilt. I have no truth but the truth inside you. All together.
Turn it up. Oh yeah, this is the move, baby. Outside. Hit us with a nigger! Jesus with a nigger! Listen to her lyrics. Look at the lyrics, young people. Get past what you see, man. Reclaim your independence! Reclaim your individuality! Take the chains of conformity off! Everybody!
It'll make me fall on the keyboard.
All right. So that's Patti Smith. Woo, 1979. YouTube. Look it up. Rock and roll nigger. She wrote it even back then. It was difficult for people to take in. But she's talking about the rebellious outsider. And she calls everybody in. Like, are you willing to risk being yourself? I'm on fire today, man. So look up the lyrics. Patti Smith, so awesome poet. But here's some things. She speaks of Jesus in there. Jesus is a nigger, right? And I picked this. This is about, if you think that any of these guys, the guys you salute and love, as I do, they're outside of society. And the reason why I'm saying this is I was on the plane coming home, and you know how you make friends on different places. I had this one gentleman, very, very sweet man, who I see only on my plane rides. And we sat down. He was going off on Trump rather brutally, which is fine. And I just said, well, am I going to say, I actually appreciate this man. And I said it. And I felt like one of those people you're reading about. I thought this guy was going to beat me up. And he said something that was interesting. And I just, in my Revzo way, I just sat there, you know, observing. And I looked in his eyes and I just saw this, not anger as much as absolute terror that the known reality was being changed, regardless of what you feel about Trumpy. The energy that's coming in and using who we're calling Trump is an invitation, not unlike Patti Smith. Because he said one thing to me that was so interesting. He says, he's destroying the pillar of society. You can't destroy the pillar of society. I'm like, therein lies my Sunday, Saturday salutation. So I'm going to read you this couple things. You can see I'm excited. One, to be talking to you, but two, back at Aloha. It was a weekend. Who cares? Get to the point, so. Matthew, chapter 15, verse 3 through 9. Basically, JC's saying, okay, the Pharisees come. Let me back up. I'm going to start at the very top of the chapter 15. Then some Pharisees and teachers of the law came to Jesus from Jerusalem and asked, why do your disciples break the tradition of the elders? They don't wash their hands before they eat. And JC says, and why do you break the command of God for the sake of your tradition? For God said, honor your father and mother, and anyone who, I don't have to read all that, let me get down to the point. Basically he's saying, you're full of shit. He says, you hypocrites, Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are but rules taught by men. These are for reflection too. Yes. That's that. Then I was going to read you real quick. I know I'm on this JC kick. Just endure it, will you? Two last things. This is Acts 18, verse 26 through 28. And he made one blood all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth. And he has appointed seasons by his command and has set limits to the age of men, so that they should seek and search after God and find him by means of his creations, because he is not far from any one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as some of your wise men have said, for we are his kindred. In other words, What are your priorities, my ongoing thing? What people expect you to be, what you think you should be? Are you willing to take the risk to find out who you are and be who you are? And that doesn't mean violence or anything like that, but for those of us who are on this path, for those of you who are listening to me, I'm still getting my breath, I'm so excited. For those of you who are listening to me and following me, I humbly ask you to reflect on where you could double up your priorities in your spiritual life and not let the world take you down in its empty promises of fulfillment. Oh, that was a big statement. Oh, yeah, well, reflect. In that hour came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, who then is greatest in all the kingdom of heaven? And I'll end on this. And he called to him a little child and said, verily I say unto you, except you turn and become as little children, you shall no wise enter in the kingdom of heaven. Kingdom of heaven being your heart. That's where heaven really resides. And if you can't go in there like the Pharisees and the energy of being perceived in a certain way or having righteous sort of predilections about the world. You have to go in there as a child, not necessarily as our idealized child, but the essence of innocence. So today I ask you to look at the world with no scales on your eyes. As it is, that is a state of innocence. Enjoy everything I just laid out, whatever part hit you, and to be continued. Another day on paradise. Bye.